Hi everyone, I am back on my channel She Sews Happiness, and I'm here to share with you a really simple DIY project for your home but really for your dogs. So if, like me, your dogs absolutely love relaxing and cozy spaces, this is one for you. So I'm going to make a couple of dog beds for my little Shih Tzus, Gatsby and Oreo. I first made this over a year ago, and it was actually during a really sad time when my little Daisy had passed away and Gatsby was a little bit lost without her, and I kind of made it as a cheer him up thing, and it worked because he actually loved it. He was down getting his little paws in the stuffing and trying to help me. It was really quite cute. But yeah, he'd been pretty depressed, as you can imagine. I was pretty upset. I didn't eat for like a week. I lived off, I think I had like a couple of pieces of fruit, and I lived off coffee, and it was awful. It was awful. So it was nice to just have a simple project that we could work on together, because he was always my little constant companion. And even when I'm in filming my vlogs, they are lying there. So Gatsby and Oreo are, yes, you are always with me in my sewing space, and they always like to feel a part of it. They like to claim the little bits of fabric that are left over from cutting out projects, and they'll just lie on it or play with it, fight with it. It's kind of cute. A little annoying sometimes, but kind of cute. So I'm going to show you how I make this really simple DIY dog bed. You could make it in a variety of different fabrics. You can make it in a good sturdy cotton. A cotton canvas would be incredible. Any upholstery fabric would be incredible, even denim, which is quite hard wearing. But because we're now halfway through October, the winter months are coming in, I'm going to make mine in fleece. So I have to admit, there's no shortage of dog beds in my house. In several different rooms, they have their choices. But I have to say that Gatsby's favourite still to this very day is the one we made just over a year ago together. So hopefully these will go down a treat, and they will become their newest, most used dog beds. So it is a really simple pattern. There's nothing difficult about it. You'll literally sew it up in a couple of hours if you've got a couple of hours. I don't ever get a couple of hours anymore, so it'll be 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. So I'll be chopping and changing and have a lot of editing to do just to get this video out there. But all you need in terms of your supplies is your sewing machine, your needle, your thread, your fabric. My fabric, as I'm saying, is a lovely fleece with these colourful paws on it, and I have it all pre-cut, which took forever. I'm not even gonna lie, it takes me forever to cut anything these days. You will need sips. So depending on the size of the dog bed you plan to make, you'll need a sip that corresponds with it. The measurements that I'm working with are 25 by 25 square, hence my 25-inch sips. And you'll need a cushion pad, the right size for the bed you've chosen. So mine is a 24 by 24 inch cushion pad. You'll see that everything takes up a lot of space for this project. So this is one to do on a clear workbench. Mine isn't really clear because I'm multitasking, finishing off some work after hours. I know I'll never learn, and getting a start on this. So the other thing that I've got here is my toy filler. So I got this with my fleece, which is from Minerva. Minerva actually gifted me the fleece as part of their brand ambassador program, so that was lovely. But everything else was purchased from Minerva. But this is important to note, that if you can purchase the toy filler that is washable, you're going to get an awful lot more out of your DIY dog beds. Because let's face it, they get pretty muddy and pretty dirty sometimes, as they take their little snacks, their little treats in there just to enjoy. So I always make sure I get the washable. So basically, once this is made up, I can just unzip, take out the massive cushion and squish the rest into the washing machine, and it's all washable. So that just gives it a bit more longevity as well. But yeah, that's all I need. In terms of the sizing then, because I am making mine with a 24 by 24 inch cushion, the sizes I've needed to cut for my fabric is one 25-inch square piece, which is for the top of the bed. I have cut two 25 inches by 12.5 inch pieces, which is for the bottom of the bed, which will have the zip inserted, and that just makes it easier for when you come to wash it, that you can take out that pad. And I have actually gone for a heavy duty zip, just because my dogs are known for a bit of rough and tumble, and I thought if I got the heavy zips while they're pulling them around and tugging, which will happen, they'll last, which is what I'm hoping for. So I have those, and then you'll need 4 rectangular pieces, which will be the surrounds of the actual cushion pad itself. Those pieces have been cut at 25 inches by 14 inches. And then you'll need like something to create ties in the corners. Now you could use the fabric that you are sewing with. I did, whenever I first made this, I made my first version in a cotton, so I could just tie off little rouleau straps, and that's what I did. Tedious, however, I have to say, 8 of those, and this time 16, I'm not sure I'd have the patience for that. So I'll probably get some cord or ribbon, if I don't have some, in a box somewhere in this craft room, and I'll cheat and speed that process up a little bit, because I don't fancy turning out straps in fleece. That's going to take forever. But that is really everything that you need. So all that remains then is for me to get sewing and show you how easy the process actually is, if not a little fiddly sometimes. So basically I have got my rectangular pieces for the base of the bed. I have my zip attached, and all I'm going to do is attach one of those rectangular pieces to either side of the zip. Now that I have found my zip foot, this is really embarrassing because I am an organized person, but having been getting increasingly pregnant and unable to wear zips or tight-fitting clothes, I forgot where I kept everything and which sewing box my feet for the sewing machine were in. So it took me a moment to find those. So, crisis averted. I can now stitch in my zippers. And then I will repeat the same for the other side. Just get it the right way around. Sometimes it's nice to make these kinds of projects because you don't have to think that much. And especially for me, after a long day at work, which ends later than you had anticipated most of the time, it's nice to be able to just relax and throw something together rather than have to pin in a whole pile of work. So I'll get on with that and then I'll be back. Okay, so that is the zip in on both of the bottom pieces for both of my beds. So I can just set those aside for a little while. And then the next step is, if you wanted to make your rouleau straps, you can do that. You'd need to make them about 8 to 10 inches in length. I, however, have some black ribbon. And what do you see? I turned my back. The dogs got it. You think cats are destructive when it comes to pieces of ribbon and twine and wool? Got nothing on my dogs. So I'm just going to cut the pieces that I need. And I know this is incredibly lazy, but it will work just as well. And all I'll need to do is finish them off with some freestyle, just to make sure they don't fray and wear away. So let me see. And I have to do that 16 times. So I'll do that. I'll come back and tell you where we go next. So all my ribbon pieces are cut. The next thing I'm going to do is get the 4 rectangular pieces, and you're basically going to fold those right sides together, lengthways, you know. And the next thing what we're going to do is just attach or ribbons or rouleaus or cords, whatever it is we're going to use to tie those little corners together a couple of inches down from the folded side of your rectangle. And then we're going to baste those in place within the seam allowance. Let me just get rid of my sit foot. I'll just pop it in my little drawer. You're going to baste them within the seam allowance, which I have created to be just 1/2 inch. It's just standard for this kind of project. But you know what? Precision is not exactly essential for this kind of project. Wearing my pin cushion would help. And it is getting pretty messy around here, which I think I mentioned at the start. There's just so many little bits and pieces of everything. And because I'm doing double, I've twice the stuff. Right, so once you've attached all of your pieces by basting the ribbons or the rouleaus or the cords in place, it's just now a case of taking those same rectangles that you've just basted the ties onto, and you're going to stitch those. So on one side, you're going to stitch it completely down the short edge, again, 1/2 inch. And on the other side, you're going to stitch it, but you're going to leave a gap of about 3 inches, which you're going to need later on to stuff with your toy filler. So let me just do one of those. I can only imagine how fluffy my machine's going to be once I finish this. Because the last couple of things I've been making on here have been coating and boucle fabrics, I am sure it's going to be in some state. I should have cleaned it before I started. Okay, so once you've done that, you're literally going to turn them out the right way. And you'll see I haven't bothered pressing or trimming or anything. And I know it's a bulky fabric, but it's going to get stuffed, so it doesn't really matter. So I now have my 8 rectangular pieces with the ribbon on the outside. I think I might have forgot to tell you to make sure that when you turn it out, you have basted your ribbon so that when you turn it out, it's on the outside of the piece. I suppose sometimes I think that these things are things we should do without thinking about it, but that's not always the case. So I'll backtrack and edit that part of the video to remind myself. So yeah, we've got 8 of these, and you can see on one side of each of them there is a little gap, and that's what I'll use to stuff those up later on. So all that remains to be done with these pieces now is to get your square piece of fabric. So for me it was the 25 by 25 inch piece. It's quite substantial, as you can see. And all I'm going to do now is take my rectangular pieces and pin those to each side of my square. Chunky once you've got all these layers of fleece, which is why I am taking the time to pin them, because I can't be bothered changing over to my walking foot, and I just want to make sure all 3 layers stay sandwiched. If you're using cotton or denim or something like that, it's not going to be just as important to pin. You can probably just feed those through. I'm just going to take the time to do that. And then I'm going to stitch that in place. So when you've done that, you can see you have one of the rectangular pieces attached to your square, and then from there all you want to do is repeat that process on every side until all 4 of them have been finished. Okay, so when you've done that, you'll have your square piece of fabric, and on each edge there will be a rectangle. It's quite hard to see, I suppose, because actually it's huge. I did say I was making mine quite substantial, so yeah, that's where I'll leave that there for now. I have to repeat that with the other one, and then maybe tomorrow, maybe Friday, I'll come back and show you the rest. Well, I'm back with my little dog beds. As I projected I was going to do, I've taken a day off work just because I can't be bothered anymore. I also have some medications and stuff I need to sort out at the hospital. So yeah, I thought it would be easier to be at home, so do not judge the state of me. I am slightly thrown together, but I am just going to be sewing today, so who cares? So where I left off last night, I had just attached the rectangular pieces to the front of one of the beds. I have now done that on both. So the second one is already finished. And really now what remains to be done is to take the back of the bed. So that's the 2 parts that have been sewn together with the zip. And I need to attach that to the front and sandwich all those rectangular pieces in the center. So all I'm going to do, and it's hard to show you on the screen because it's pretty huge, is fold in all of these rectangles, making sure to keep my ribbons, etc. out of the way. And I'm literally just going to take that right sides together with the base of the little bed and go the whole way around that and pin that in place. Now, instead of making you watch me do that, I've gone ahead and done that on one of them. Let me just pop that wee pin in there to get that started. And this looks much tidier. I have this one already pinned the whole way around. The zip I have left open just a little bit because that's how I'm going to turn it out again. And yeah, I'm just going to stitch that the entire way around. Well, once you've done that, once you have stitched around all 4 corners, that's pretty much the construction of the bed done. The rest of it is just faffing around with stuffing and pillows. I will say, if like me you choose to go for something like a fleece in winter, I mean that's pretty bulky. Make sure you do know your machine. My machine is pretty trusty. I think it's, you know, comparable to a heavy duty machine. It's a Singer Quantum Stylist. I didn't put my walking foot on and it coped. But then I know that this has ran through like 8 layers of coating fabric and seams and has been fine. But you'll know your machine. You'll know what it's capable of. You might want to use a walking foot when it comes to sewing with tougher fabrics in terms of thickness. You'll be fine if you're just sewing with cottons and canvas and things like that. But yeah, all that remains to be done at this point is turning it out the right way. And I left the zips open just a little bit to give me the ease to do that. And all my ribbons seem to be fine. I haven't caught anything. There we go. So that's that done. Just pull my corners out nice and straight. And all that remains for me to do at this point then is firstly to get the cushion in there, and secondly stuff the rectangular sides. So I'll go and grab my cushions for a start and get that done, and then I'll get my stuffing. And I have a suspicion I might need to buy some more of that. So just for scale, you can see where we are. It is a rather large but cozy fluffy, squishy bed, which I think is going to be enjoyed. So now I have my rectangular sides, and if you recall, I left an opening in each of those. I now need to get to the point where I stuff those all up and then hand finish them. Now to stuff those up, it does take quite a long time. It's probably something I'll do this evening, just when I'm sitting watching something on Netflix. And the easiest way to do it, because you want it to be nice and firm and you want it to last. So I tend to pull my stuffing apart quite a lot, and then I stuff it with the help of a knitting needle to get it nicely down to the bottom, and then sew that little side up just with a slip stitch. So I'll come back and show you that once that is done, and essentially that's it. When you've done that, all you're going to do is tie off the little corners, bring that little bed together, and hey presto, cozy sleeps. So I'll do that this evening and I'll share that with you when it's finished. So it's been about 2 weeks since I finished my dog beds, and they are being used and enjoyed very much. They're very, very cozy and will be perfect after long winter walks to come home and lie in front of the fire. So I'll have some pictures which I'll slot in so you can see them enjoying them. And as I say, it is a pretty simple thing to sew. All you need is a few hours, a lot of space, and patient canine friends. Mine weren't so patient and were ready to pounce on them before they were even finished. So I've come on today just to catch up. I have been away from YouTube for a couple of weeks, but I'm going to make up for that today. And once I post this, I'm going to get along and share with you what I have been making recently. So don't get too excited, because what I've been making I've made multiple of, but I'll share that with you in my next video. I hope you're all doing well. I hope this little tutorial is of interest to you if you have little companions in your home who enjoy a soft and cozy place to rest, and whether it be a dog or a cat. And you know, the thing about it is, while I've made mine to be square, you could make yours to be any shape or size that you like. It's just about doing the basic math and getting the edges to match up to the center bed and the cushion. So if you do try out the little project, I hope you enjoy it. I hope your little friends enjoy it. And I hope that you're doing well wherever in the world that you are. And you'll be back to catch up with me soon. So take care, and I will be back in a matter of hours or days, depending on how long it takes me to actually do the uploading. So that's me, over and out. Bye bye.